In today's show, we've got iconic dance moves, legendary songs, stockings and suspenders, and a cultural phenomenon. We're taking the film TARDIS to 1975 and doing the time warp again as we explore the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And here we are again, Dave. This is nice, isn't it?
Take two.
Take two. This is the remount, the fabled remount. The first version will be lost to history. But this is our second go doing the time warp again, of doing the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So hopefully no gremlins in the system, no little glitches, no technical staff will have to get their P45s. And here we are.
Yes, gazers, if you heard our problematic gazette on Friday, you will know the full story of how the system let us down, basically. It was not our fault, but there were gremlins in the system. An hour later, realised that our whole episode was completely unusable. So here we are again. We've worked through it. We're out the other side.
Yes.
But it was such a good episode that we just thought we'd have to do it again.
We can't. I mean, it's like Doctor Who, that classic Doctor Who. They've shot the first episode ever, decided it wasn't good enough and had to remount it, and thank heavens they did. So we are stuff among legends, darling.
We are.
Among
We
legends.
are standing on the shoulders of giants.
Indeed. And we're looking at something quite legendary today, iconic, in fact, the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yes.
What is your relationship with the Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Well, okay, so when was it released?
1975.
Okay, so when I was at school, sixth form, uni, etc., it was still a big phenomenon going to watch the Rocky Horror Picture Show at the cinema, or going to watch the theatre version, the Rocky Horror Show, getting dressed up in your stockings and suspenders and your feather boas and stuff. But it passed me by. You know, I didn't ride the wave. I think you probably have to watch it when you're young and you're impressionable and you see the art of rebellion in it, etc. Mine was Grease. I was more of a Sandra Dee fan than a Frankenfurter fan. So, you know, there were various camps, and I just did not fall into the Rocky Horror Picture Show camp. I'm afraid. What was that? Was that what orifice did that noise come out of?
It's my stomach.
Oh, okay.
It's my
fine.
baby. Sorry, everybody. If you can hear my baby grumbling.
Is it kicking?
It's not kicking. It's just... Just letting its presence know.
I don't have to put matting down, do I?
Possibly, but we'll decide when we get there.
Okay.
If you suddenly hear a sluicing noise.
What's your relationship with Rocky Horror Show?
Well, I saw it quite young. About 1985, I think I saw it. And it was on telly, and I videoed it because I saw Rocky Horror Picture Show. So I thought it was a horror film. Obviously went to watch it, and it does start off very much like a horror film, but then quickly descends into non-horror film madness. And it didn't pass me by, but I kind of didn't really get it, I guess. And then I remember watching the movie Fame, and in that they go and see a cinema screening of it, and they're all joining in and stuff, and that kind of joined the two together in my head. And then obviously the more you know about it, it's not something I'd turn to automatically. I enjoy it. I like the spirit of rebellion, as you say, and the anti-establishment air it's got. So yeah, it's one of those things that you know. I know the songs more than the actual film, I guess. My friend had the soundtrack album, so yeah, but it's one of those things that's been there, I suppose.
Yeah, I know. And I feel bad for saying that I'm not a fan. I don't know why, because it feels like everybody I know is a fan. And we have watched it again.
Yes.
So before anyone says they don't watch it, we did watch it. We sat down and watched it.
Yes.
So, yes, let's have a little discussion about what it's all about then, shall we?
Would you like to give us some information about the Rocky Horror Picture Show, our Dave?
So, yes, I will. And we have to distinguish between the Rocky Horror Show, which is a theatre musical. The Rocky Horror Picture Show is the filmed version, which is what we watched, which came out in 1975.
It's almost as a clue.
Yeah.
And the addition of the word picture.
Yes. I'm just saying it for the hard of thinking out there.
Okay.
That's all. Okay. The Rocky Horror Picture Show is an independent musical comedy horror film produced by Lou Adler and Michael White, directed by Jim Sharman, and distributed by 20th Century Fox. The screenplay was written by Sharman and Richard O'Brien, who also plays the supporting role of Riff Raff. The film is based on the 1973 musical stage production, The Rocky Horror Show. We've kind of just said that, haven't we?
Yes,
but
we
just
have.
to reiterate
Just
to everybody.
from harder thinking.
And the music and book and lyrics for the theatre version was written by Richard O'Brien. The film stars Tim Curry in his debut, and what a fabulous debut it is.
Indeed.
Susan Sarandon in an early role, and Barry Bostwick. It's narrated by Charles Gray, with cast members from the original Royal Court Theatre, Roxy Theatre and Belasco Theatre productions, including Nell Campbell and Patricia Quinn. Now, get this. The film is still in limited release in cinemas in 2026, 50 years after its premiere, which makes it the longest running theatrical release in film history. I mean, what a feat that is.
Wow.
It's got a large international cult following and has been considered by many as one of the greatest musical films of all time. In 2005, it was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. So, accolades indeed.
Indeed.
Yes, doesn't mention anything about awards won or anything, but I mean, who needs awards when you've got this massive cult following?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bit like the inverse to us, isn't it?
Yeah. But we've got a massive cult following and an award. We don't like to talk about it. Why don't you talk about instead what the film's about?
I will. So we get a straight-laced all-American couple, Brad and Janet. They wander into a gothic mansion for help with a flat tire and instead find themselves trapped in the world's most chaotic talent show hosted by a self-proclaimed sweet transvestite from outer space. Between the glitter, the fishnets and a muscle-bound Frankenstein himbo named Rocky, Brad and Janet quickly realise this is less a house call and more a cosmic fever dream with choreography and sexual experimentation. As the night spirals into musical mayhem, they're swept up in a whirlwind of aliens, mad science and enough camp to power a small city. By the time the floor show ends, they've questioned their sanity, their relationships and possibly the laws of physics, proving that sometimes the scariest thing isn't the monster in the lab, but the dance numbers you can't escape.
Well.
So, as you say, phenomena. How is the film remembered today? It's a cultural milestone in queer cinema. We'll discuss why shortly. It's got this huge interactive experience which audiences go back to again and again and again, dressing up, shouting the responses, etc. It's an enduring source of camp, music and fandom. And it has got a few issues, let's face it. But the impact and the joy it brings to people often outweigh its flaws. It's often overlooked. And I think, as we'll discuss, they get overlooked for many different reasons. And there are lots to celebrate in the Rocky Horror Picture Show rather than going,
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's where we stand with it today.
Now, before we go any further, I think we should have a little cheers.
Chin chin. Cheers.
Cheers. Now, we're not on the bubbles tonight.
No.
We're on the beer. Well, I'm on the beer. I'm on the white. I'm about to say wife beaters, but that's a little bit problematic in itself, isn't it?
Yes, you're the Stella.
The Stella.
I fear for my life.
Yeah, and you're on the
I'm on the Vino.
Vino Collapso.
The Vino Collapso.
Yeah, I feel as though I'm getting ready to go out to the theatre production of Rocky Horror.
Maybe that's the vibe of Rocky Horror. That's the excitement of it, love.
I mean, underneath this table, I'm just wearing a jockstrap and a suspender belt.
Let me just check. Oh, holy mother of God, he is as well. Oh my God.
Now, with that mental image in mind, what I thought we should do,
Yes.
dip our toe into Culture Corner, but before we intro Culture Corner, because for anybody who hasn't heard yet, the Rocky Horror Picture Show is based on the theatrical version, the Rocky Horror Show, which was pioneering in the 70s, wasn't it?
Indeed.
1973 when it first came out. So we thought we'd have a little look at the cultural landscape of theatre in 1973. Tits and teeth, darling.
Tits and teeth.
Yeah. As we go into our theatrical Culture Corner.
Culture Corner.
Culture Corner.
Culture Corner.
Culture Corner.
Culture Corner. It's a corner. It's culture.
Yeah.
So.
God, I thought that was Lionel Blair in the corner there.
Oh, well, you know, if the cap fits, love.
Okay, so let me kick off. The UK theatrical musicals, the UK musical theatre scene, that wife beater's kicking in.
Wow.
Around 1975 was an interesting transitional period. The older style of British musical comedy was fading, and a new wave of rock-influenced experimental and concept-driven musicals was starting to emerge.
Yes, so as you say, the rock musical is becoming a big thing. By the early mid-70s, musical influenced by rock and pop music are transforming the genre. So, Rocky Horror Show, not the Rocky Horror Show, a glam rock sci-fi parody, begins in a tiny London theatre, becomes a cult hit. Jesus Christ Superstar by Andrew Lloyd Webber, of course, is a good example. Some of the music in that is really kind of funky, proper early 70s bass and stuff. Have you heard of Godspell? It's another one based on the Bible. What is it about Bibles and rock music?
Hair was knocking around at this point as well, wasn't it?
Hair was 68.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
I bow to you.
And had pushed... Because that's when the censorship laws were relaxed. So that's when suddenly you were able to get nudity on stage for the first time, including the young Oliver Tobias from The Stud. Check out our episode on The Stud.
Did you see his willy?
Yeah. You would have seen us, Will.
Oh.
You'd be in that dirty bastard in the front row with a Polaroid, wouldn't you?
I'm bothered now.
But what they're doing is these kind of new rock musicals. They're bringing in the glam rock era, which is huge in Britain at the time. They're also channeling youth culture in a way that musicals such as The Sound of Music or Seven Brides for Seven Brothers or Carousel had very much appealed to your nan. This was a new generation of musicals.
Okay, so also at this point, there's a boom in fringe and experimental theatre. Now, fringe and experimental theatre's always been around, but there's been quite a boom in it. There's a growth of fringe theatre in London in particular, which allowed stranger and riskier musicals to appear. Important venues included Royal Court Theatre, Theatre Upstairs at the Royal Court, the King's Head Theatre, and the Rocky Horror Show actually began in the tiny Theatre Upstairs place at the Royal Court before transitioning to the larger King's Road Theatre. These smaller venues encouraged camp, queer themes, satire and rock music, which traditional West End theatres were less willing to stage because I guess they were just a little bit risky budget-wise and stuff,
Exactly.
Still a bit controversial. Not everyone wants to go and watch the Dirty Queers at play, do they?
No, they don't. And as I said, the West End is still dominated by traditional musicals. So Evita's a few years off, but this is the kind of vibe we're getting. There's been revivals of classics like My Fair Lady, lots of imports from Broadway. We're talking the big orchestras, the classic storytelling, the spectacle, which the audience liked, rather than anything experimental or a bit weird, a bit dirty, like us too.
Like us too. So, but where did the inspiration for this boom in fringe theatre, experimental, queer, rocky, music-y things? I mean, it's in culture everywhere, really. In the early 70s, artists like David Bowie. Did I say that right?
You did.
Thank you. Mark Bolan of T-Rex. T-Rex.
T-Rex. You're doing so well with Bowie.
I'll just take another sip of my beer. Of T-Rex, they popularised androgyny. They popularised glitter, sci-fi imagery, theatrical performance, and it all kind of fed into these fringe musicals like Rocky Horror.
And this is of course going hand in hand with the formation of the Gay Liberation Front in 1970. So theatre, and especially these small experimental theatres, can become spaces, safe spaces where performers can challenge gender roles, they can mock traditional ideals of masculinity and femininity, they can celebrate the camp aesthetic, and they can openly explore queer sexuality in a way that would have been unthinkable even 5 years earlier at this point.
So do you remember... Well, you do remember The Wicker Man because it's one of your favourite films. But Lindsay Kemp, who was an actor in The Wicker Man, he appeared as the pub landlord. Now, he had his own theatre company in London, and his theatre company blended mime, blended dance, androgynous costumes and surreal storytelling. And his productions were highly stylised, and they influenced performers such as David Bowie and Kate Bush, of all people. The flamboyant theatricality of Kent's work echoes strongly in characters like Dr. Frankenfurter. So there are these individuals out there who are pioneering this move forward, this movement.
Indeed. And Richard O'Brien himself, who's the creator of the Rocky Horror Show, he's particularly obsessed, as a lot of these alternative creators are. He's obsessed with 1950s sci-fi films, Hammer horrors, why wouldn't he be? I mean, I am. And glam rock music. So you can see very much the influence of those three in the Rocky Horror Show or the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Right, from this point on, the interchangeable. You'll know, listeners, if we're talking about the film, you'll know what we're talking about. You're talking about theatre, you'll know what we're talking about. I'm sick of it, Dave.
I'm sick of it too.
Sick of it.
Sick of it. Our gazers will be sick of it now.
Sick of it. But so what this does is it shows it's an interesting intersection, because you've got this counterculture. I mean, counterculture's always kind of intersected with the mainstream eventually, but this is at this point in time where you get this counterculture of this alternative theatre crossing over into the mainstream. So it's a little interesting piece. So even if you might not think much of it, it's really riffing on a lot of these alternative queer ideas which have been around for a couple of years at this point. So it must have felt so kind of fresh, vibrant, groundbreaking. You know, if you first went to see it, you're like, what the hell is going on? Where's Seven Brands of Seven Brothers? Yeah. You know, so
it is really interesting because you think about glam rock as being this kind of isolated incident, really, that included David Bowie, T-Rex, Slade.
The Sweet.
Exactly. And it kind of came and went. But you can see how that influence spread out and still continues to this day in things like Rocky Horror Show.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I guess the audience, young people who go and see it today, probably have no idea that they never heard of those glam rock artists. You know, 'cause glam rock was a really kind of weird, peculiarly British phenomena. So thank God we've got it. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had this.
Exactly. And it all started in the fringes of society, the fringe of the theatre. You know, so that's why those spaces are really important to this day, because who knows when the next explosion will be, it will be. Exactly. Cheers. I've got a bit emotional.
Now, shall we have a look at what the top best-selling singles of 1975 were, just to give you a bit of context for the music that was around at this time. So should I start us off? Also, let's in fact 1975 British music is a proper shit show. It's so fucking boring at this point. We've done glam, we're waiting for disco. God, it's dull, as we will find out. So number 10, Johnny Nash is there with Tears on My Pillow. I mean, classic song.
Not a patch on Kylie.
Obviously.
No. Okay, number 9, I Only Have Eyes for You, Art Garfunkel. Now, Art Garfunkel was
a bit earnest, wasn't it?
It was a little bit earnest. I watched a whole Simon and Garfunkel concert live from New York with our friend Remy.
Okay.
I think we were a little bit drunk and we were a bit rooted to the sofa, and the remote controls were on the other side of the room.
Didn't have a child to go and get it for you.
Yeah. Actually, it was quite good to see it, but I mean, I'm sorry to any Art Garfunkel fans out there, but it was clear who the talented one was. In Simon and Garfunkel. That's all I'll say.
Was it George Michael, Andrew Ridgeley kind of dynamic?
Yeah, but Andrew Ridgeley was likeable.
And pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on.
Crashing on, we're not superficial. Number 8 is The Last Farewell by, here we are, Roger Whittaker.
See, the Cardigan Man.
I think Cardigan with a flute, maybe? Oh, no, that was James Galway.
Yeah.
But a similar vibe, I think.
Similar vibe. Yes. Wasn't Roger Whittaker in a rocking chair at some point?
Possibly. Val Doonican-esque.
Yes.
Yeah. But all that saying, this is what your nan would have liked, basically.
Yeah.
Not
I don't
cool.
think even my nan would have liked that.
I don't mind.
Just a bit naff.
Yeah.
My gran liked Matt Monro.
Yes, my nana did. Yeah, very much so. Matt Monro.
I remember her playing the records when I used to go up there when I was a kid.
Yeah. And my nana was a big fan of Mario Lanza.
Ah.
Yeah. And she used to sing like Ina Sharples in the kitchen. And my granddad would go, yes, fucking Mario Lanza back.
Those were the days.
Those were the
weren't
days.
they?
Innocent.
Innocent, when we were all just sat scrolling on our phones, missing life going by.
Yeah.
Quite emotional today.
Oh, you are.
Yeah.
So is that a jockstrap digging in or something? Is it coming
Yeah,
off for circulation?
chafing.
Did you get the lower size because you were trying to keep? I'm going to small into it.
Yeah.
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 Hey ho.
Okay. Number 7, my friend,
Yeah.
David Essex. Hold Me Close.
I'd hold David close, wouldn't I? Oh, blue eyes.
Well, it's just his eyes.
Get lost in them, love.
You could.
Yeah. Like fried mountain hams did he to get lost in there.
I wouldn't know, darling.
No, I know. A friend told me. Number 6 is the Bay City Rollers, the Tartan Army with Give a Little Love. I mean, they're big, but this is very much the tail end of the glam movement. But they are huge. They're on a par with the Osmonds. You know, the Osmonds were a couple of years old. The Bay City Rollers are Scotland's answer to the Osmonds, and they are big. They're massive at this point. Yeah,
But I mean, they are, to all intents and purposes, a flash in the pan, aren't they?
they really are. They really are.
They peaked too soon.
Yes.
Like Blue,
Yes.
still clinging on.
You could even argue a bit like the Spice Girls, that kind of 18-month phenomena, 2 albums.
Yeah, I wouldn't place the... Well, I didn't live through the Bay City Rollers phenomenon, so... But no, Spice Girls, Viva Forever.
Oh, don't. I'm going to get emotional now.
Oh, no.
Go to number
We've
5,
gone.
Dave. Go to number
We've
5.
gone. Stand by your man, Tammy Wynette.
Country's huge, isn't it? Country and Western songs are huge at this point. Yeah.
Do you remember when Hillary Clinton said, I'm not going to stand by my man or something like that and caused a furore when Clinton was, getting noshed off in the White House?
Yeah, yeah. Remember those days when that's all the president would have done? They seem halcyon, don't they?
They really do.
Remember the days of Obama when there was absolutely nothing, nothing to stick to him, nothing, just a nice family man.
Do you know what? Obama's never been convicted of a crime.
No, all fiddle for kids. There we
No.
go. Number 4.
I'm cutting that out.
Well, he hasn't. We're being nice. You don't need to cut that out. We said nothing, There's nothing that's not out there, love. Number 4, now here's a proper snapshot of what was big at the time. We've got Whispering Grass by Windsor Davis and Don Estelle, who of course are from the comedy show It Ain't Half Hot Mum, which is a show about the army in India in the Second World War, and which has never been repeated for the reason that it's rather racist.
Which we haven't quite been brave enough to tackle on the problematic case yet.
We should, though, because I mean, it's a good one. It's a good one for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how you tell my Windsor Davis and Melvin Hayes story.
No.
This was, God, I was really young, probably, I'll tell you how young I was. It was the first time I ever had a pizza.
Oh.
It was the 80s, and we were on holiday in Scotland. That's all we could afford because my dad was a milkman, and we never went much further than Scotland. And I live in Northumberland, so it's literally 40 miles up the road. And in this pub, in this town called Peebles, pub's empty. I've had a pizza that's got mushroom on it that's made me feel a bit sick because I thought the mushrooms looked like slugs.
Right.
And in walk Windsor Davis and Melvin Hayes from TV's It Ain't Half Hot Mum, having a faggy. So look around this pub, go, nah, and then walk out. We were just like, was that Windsor Davis and Melvin Hayes? They must have been in some show or something close by, and just walked in and walked out. It was kind of one really random kind of moments. But this is obviously, It Ain't Half Hot Mum is big show at the time. So
Now, they did cling to fame, Windsor Davis and Don Estelle, because I've got a Windsor Davis and Don Estelle story. It's a bit boring, but I'll tell it anyway.
Go on.
So, I mean, look, I was 1 in 1975, so it's not then. So it's a few years later, and they went to, they were obviously kind of like releasing songs and stuff. And I went to Woolworths, my grandma took me down,
Lovely.
and they were signing things and like a PA basically, and they were absolutely mobbed. You'd never seen Woolworths in Scarborough so rammed.
I bet they were.
Yeah, I didn't really know they were.
Yeah, I mean, but it shows you the power of TV at the time with only 3 channels.
Yeah.
That, how big people could get.
Yeah.
Any 2-bit could open supermarkets and stuff.
Do you think we could?
Supermarkets. We could.
Yeah.
There must be a little local shop who'll have us, isn't there?
Yeah,
Get onto that, Dave.
local offie.
Yeah. Get a loyalty card, discount card.
Award-winning podcasters, Dave and Dr. Lee, like going waving. Everyone's like, "Who the fuck are they?"
Yeah, the 4 people there.
Yeah. Yeah. Your mum,
Yeah.
my husband, and a couple of winos that we've paid to clap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, is it me next?
Yes.
Number 3, can't give you anything but my love, the Stylistics.
Don't know it. I mean, the Stylistics. He's the lead singer, sings in a very high falsetto.
Yes. American.
Are they?
Yes.
Good.
I'm going to throw myself out on a limb there and go, yes,
Good.
confidently.
Good.
I will fact check that, though.
Good. Number 2 is Rod Stewart with Sailing. Sailing had been made very big by its use as a theme tune for a BBC's documentary on the Royal Navy.
Oh.
Yeah, so it became a huge hit. Now, Rod's been around for a couple of years, obviously, the New Faces, or the Small Faces.
I think it's a bit of both.
Summit Faces.
Yeah, I'll delete as appropriate, don't
Was
we?
New Faces? That was Marty Kane. Obviously had Maggie May. So this is a big hit for him. It would have been a hit anyway, but it's made huge because it's used as BBC TV show.
I've had a sip of wine. I've got a Rod Stewart story.
Go on.
Well, not met him, obviously, but my friend Stella, hello Stella, she lives back in the US now, and she said, do you want to come and see Rod Stewart? I've got a spare ticket in Hyde Park. And I was a bit like, yeah, I like Rod Stewart, but I'm not sure if I want to go and see a whole concert, because it was a time when he was doing his big band stuff, you know, the American Songbook and everything. I thought, I can't be asked to sit for a load of shite. Anyway, we went. He didn't play one song from his American Songbook. It was all his classic hits from the 70s.
Wow.
And it was brilliant. It was so good. And he had all his little blonde-haired ladies playing the sax and all that. And it was fucking amazing. And he whipped the crowd up. And I was so pleased I went, but the final song was Sailing. Well, you know what it's like to get out of Hyde Park at the end of a concert.
Oh, yeah.
The rush for the tubes and stuff. So as we heard Sailing and Pipe Up, me and Stella looked at each other and went, shall we go? And so everyone was waving their arms in the air. So we were waving our arms in the air and backing slowly away to the back of the venue, just in the rush for the tube. So we did enter the spirit of things, but we were like, Rod, it's Sailing. Come on, we know this. We can hear it on the radio.
Yes.
We need to go for the tube. The Piccadilly bloody line at Hyde Park is a nightmare.
At least it wasn't having to get back from the O2, which is just a horror show in
shit.
itself. What's your favourite Rod song?
I think Maggie May.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think I'm sexy? That's my favourite.
Is it?
I love that song.
Maggie May is quite problematic in itself, isn't it?
Is it?
Well, it's about a schoolboy.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I see.
Having an affair with
an old woman.
Older
Yeah.
woman.
I suppose, yes, in that respect, yes.
Yeah, but back in the day, it weren't.
No, it weren't.
It was fine. It was just lucky.
Well, school kids were fair game back in the 70s,
Well,
weren't
he
they?
was just considered himself lucky, wasn't he? An older woman
Yeah.
showing him the ropes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fact Does Your Mother Know by ABBA. The
know.
rest of the way round.
Well, I might have to do a special on this. All these
dear.
problematic songs from
You're
the
so
70s.
cute teasing me. You know, little 15-year-old.
Does your mother know?
Tell us what number 1 is. Give us a palate cleanse, Dave.
Okay, it's Bye Bye Baby, Bay City Rollers.
Great song, actually. Yeah, and you can see why they were huge with that song.
Yeah.
And well, particularly attractive, but they're very attractive by 1975 standards, I suppose.
Oh, yeah.
They were
mean,
heartthrobs.
Yeah, I can imagine many a lady, a young girl, having the posters on the walls.
Yes.
Gazers, because we have got our ladies of a certain age, haven't we? I know it's a little bit of an insult in itself. We've got our older gazers out there. We have.
We have.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which is worse.
Okay.
Of a certain age.
If you're between 60 and 70, I would say, and you grew up in Britain and you're a girl, a woman, I don't know, I'm tying myself up in knots here. You know what I mean?
Quite enjoy watching.
Were you a fan? Were you a fan of the Bay City Rollers?
Let us know.
Let us
Send
know.
us a postcard, please, to PG Manor, Wood Lane, London, W12 8QT. Thank you.
Just email us.
Yeah, just email us, problematicgaze@gmail.com.
Okay.
So that was a great snapshot. As you said, you get these new bands, but there's the old standards, these old artists still churning out this bland middle of the road, which is still really appealing to the masses, isn't it? So
Really are, yes.
really.
Okay, shall we turn to the matter in hand?
Yes.
Shall we take a deep dive, dip our jock-strapped packages, our high heels.
Probably bed.
Yeah.
Dipping your jock strap was a bit of a physical exertion, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's not going to have to squat down.
You have to squat down on your stomach.
Oh,
Yeah.
my God.
Do your high heels.
Yeah. I might cut all this.
Don't cut it. This is what the listeners love.
Yeah.
They love it.
I get a bit tongue-tied
They
sometimes.
love the riff.
They do.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yes.
let's strut
Yes.
confidently and arrogantly and sexily
Yes.
into the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Now, is that the film or was that the TV? Of course, it's the film. Yes, let's do it, Dave. Let's do it.